When symbols and dates collide with real trauma, public reaction is swift. People don't separate kayfabe from reality when memory is involved. Within hours, social media, and then the press, lit up Israeli outlets and Jewish diaspora communities called the scheduling and branding insensitive. Fans expressed pain. Columnists described the choice as tone-deaf. Influential voices in Israel publicly criticized WWE. The pushback was not a whisper. It was a roar. In the modern media landscape, outrage spreads fast. A few posts become headlines. Headlines become diplomatic-sounding statements that in turn forces brands to respond. For WWE, a global company with diverse audiences, the backlash quickly became a corporate problem. Faced with mounting criticism, WWE did what many global brands do when they face reputational risk. They moved quickly to change course. The event name Invasion was quietly removed and the special was rebranded as Showdown. Promotional materials were updated and the logo reworked. That change was announced on air, and the company tried to contain the fallout. Was the change an admission of fault, or simply crisis control? Both interpretations circulated. For some fans, the rename was necessary and overdue. For others, it felt like reactive damage control rather than sincere understanding. Either way, the brand had to act, and act decisively. At first glance, this conflict seems small. A name, a date, a logo. But this is where misunderstanding grows into enmity. Symbols, dates, and language are containers for collective memory. When a global entertainment company touches those containers without fully understanding the contents, people feel violated. Think about it. For many Israelis and Jewish communities, October 7th is not an abstract historical footnote. It is a date of grief and loss. Calling a spectacle invasion on that anniversary is more than a marketing misstep. It can be felt as insensitivity to suffering. That is why the reaction was so. Tonight we tell a story that started as marketing and ended as a diplomatic headache. What begins as a simple naming decision for a wrestling special, a throwback name, a poster, a date, suddenly exploded into anger, pain, and an international controversy. This is the story of WWE, an entertainment giant, and why a country, Israel, publicly criticized it. This is not just wrestling news. This is a lesson about symbols, timing, and the power of memory. Listen closely. WWE is a global brand. They sell spectacle and storylines. Names, logos, and dates matter to their fans. They love to revive classic event names to stir nostalgia. That's normal. But sometimes a name meets a date that carries real-world pain. And when it does, the show isn't entertainment anymore. In late September, WWE revived a classic event name for a special show scheduled on October 7th. To many fans, this looked like a throwback. To others, it touched a raw wound. October 7th is a date that still marks trauma for many people, and in this case, the reaction came quickly and loudly. Why did Israel react? There are three simple answers: the name, the date, and the imagery. The name: WWE announced a special called Invasion. On paper, it's a wrestling callback. In context, that word is heavy. Invasion simultaneously carried historical baggage for fans who remember conflicts and attacks tied to that date. The date, October 7th, is not a neutral day in the region. It marks the anniversary of a major violent event that left deep scars. Scheduling an entertainment special with a warlike name on that day felt to many like tone deafness at best and offensive at worst. The imagery, promotional graphics that featured a stylized red V, were interpreted by some as resembling symbols associated with the attacks. Whether intentional or not, the resemblance made things worse and made perceptions hard to reverse. Intense. So how deep did the enmity go? Was this a diplomatic rupture or a social media storm that fizzled? The answer is, it was significant but targeted. Public anger in Israel and among diaspora communities. Israeli outlets published strong pieces condemning the timing and branding. Social platforms filled with calls for explanation and apology. That concentrated criticism forced WWE into action. Reputational cost. For WWE, the cost was reputational rather than financial, at least initially. The brand risked alienating a segment of fans and media in a sensitive market. For a global entertainment company, that's serious. Word travels. Sponsors and partners watch reactions closely. Cage-side seats for pro wrestling fans. Not a full boycott or sanctions. Importantly, this was not a geopolitical standoff. No government-imposed sanctions on WWE. No formal diplomatic measures were announced. The enmity was largely public and social, loud and damaging in perception, but not a formal political rupture. In short, the anger was real, the impact meaningful, but it remained primarily in the court of public opinion. What should brands learn from this? 3 things. Context matters more than intent. You can intend nostalgia, but if your choices intersect with real trauma, intent does not erase impact. Fast action can limit damage, but authenticity matters. Renaming an event is damage control. Explanation and genuine outreach build long-term trust. Local sensitivity must be built into global planning. When your audience spans cultures and histories, involve local advisors and cultural checks before you go public. WWE's swift rebrand prevented escalation into a full crisis, but the episode will be studied by PR teams for years. A single poorly timed title and image risked decades of brand equity. Will this blow over? Likely, in the sense that media cycles move on. But the underlying lesson won't disappear. For WWE, expect more scrutiny when marketing touches real-world events. For fans, expect heightened sensitivity to how entertainment uses historical language and imagery. A few realistic scenarios. WWE strengthens its global review processes, bringing in cultural consultants for international programming. Critics remain vigilant and will call out future missteps earlier, faster. Some fans will keep the controversy alive as a talking point. Others will return to enjoying the show once apologies and fixes are visible. The best outcome is learning. A company acknowledges the hurt, listens, and changes. That's how tensions cool and trust rebuilds. Entertainment thrives on boldness. But boldness must be married to responsibility. There is a narrow line between invoking history for drama and reopening wounds for people who carry those memories every year. When that line is crossed, even unintentionally, the consequences ripple. They travel from comment threads to headlines, from fans to local communities. WWE's name change shows that even the biggest entertainment machine is not immune to the human cost of symbolism. If brands want to operate globally, they must do more than sell shows. They must listen. They must learn. And above all, they must respect the lives and memories their choices touch. You saw it here first. A marketing decision that turned into a public controversy. Not because anyone wanted to inflame, but because words, dates, and symbols carry weight. If you felt the shock, the discomfort, or the outrage, say so in the comments. Share your view. Was WWE negligent or simply unlucky? If you want more deep breakdowns like this, subscribe, hit that bell, and share this video. I dig deeper so you don't miss the stories that show how entertainment meets the world, and sometimes, how the world pushes back.